Welcome to an episode of Challenge Rachel in association with Love Seitan. Not the devil, the meat replacement. They've sent over a considerably generous selection of their products. That looks delicious. I'm really looking forward to having like a bacon sarnie with those. Bit of ketchup. We've got some burgers and also some seitan bites. So these are both products in breadcrumbs. So I'm thinking I might bosh those in the air fryer. And then I've got some of their sausage type things as well. I'll be honest, there was also a sage and onion flavour, but I nailed that for my lunch yesterday. I was very hungry and it was very delicious. So sorry, so I've got chicken flavour, pepperoni, classic seitan, simply seitan, garlic and chilli, and this one which I'm very excited about, Smokey Dokey. So I'm thinking this is probably going to be like the smoked sausage that I used to get when I ate meat. Each of the sausages has very helpfully got a nice little picture on there to give you some ideas of how to use it. So the chicken has got like a fried rice type dish on it, and then the simply seitan looks a bit like a curry. So there's lots of ideas there for you, so if you're a bit stuck of how to cook these things, you'll just look on the packet. Pizza, stir fry with noodles, a bolognese looking thing. And then this is like a tagliatelle. The sausages have all got at least 5 months before the use by date, so it gives me plenty of time to sort of sit and let ideas simmer away. I think the burgers I'm going to have for lunch this week at work, and the bacon, that'll probably be a snack on a Friday evening. I might do a pack of the bacon in a pasta carbonara and maybe steam a cauliflower to make the cream sauce. I've done that before and it works really well. Very silky and delicious. These have also got the mark from the Manchester Best Inn, so if you're keeping kosher, these are a great one for you as well. To get your own box of goodies, head over to loveseitan.com and use code chaotic10 to get 10% off your first order. Hi and welcome to today's episode, which is going to be all about making a vegan chili of sorts, a chili non-carne, I suppose it would be. I'm going to use one of the Love Seitan sausages, I guess that is, a roll, not sure what they'd call that, tube. And I'm going to use the Smokey Dokey, because I think that's going to go really nicely with the chipotle paste that I bought. I'm going to put in some various vegetables, just to give lots of different textures as you're crunching on it. Bit of the seitan for protein, and then I'm going to use mushrooms to mimic the kind of texture of beef, because you know that's just not going to be enough, because I want to batch cook and put a load in the freezer and then just pull it out and microwave it when I'm hungry. I've got 1600 grams of mushrooms here, but I think I might also do a bolognese, so obviously you don't need to do this many. I'm preheating the oven to 180 degrees C, get that going for the mushrooms. Normally I do it at a higher temperature, but I'm also going to make some cornbread to go with it. So, and that needs to be at 180. So yeah, we'll work around it. I'm using the coarsest grating blade. You can totally do this by hand, but I'm definitely not going to. Giving the mushrooms a little wipe with some paper towel, just to remove any traces of mud. I'm not sure if it is mud, whatever they grow that in, dirt. I bought some splints for my fingers, just to stop them bending so much. This is the first time cooking with them. It'd be good to test drive it. All right, let's start feeding these in. My massive amount of mushrooms is grated. That is going to reduce considerably in size though, so it's not too bad. Put on a liberal amount of black pepper and salt, and then give that a mix through. And then repeat. Throw these in the oven. I'm also going to grate the seitan. I'm doing it on the box grater just to give it a bit of a coarser grate. Got a feeling if I tried to do this in the food processor, it's just going to mush it rather than grating. I'm keeping the plastic on here and peeling it back just to give it a bit of extra support as I grate it. Any bits that are too fiddly to grate, just break them up with your fingers. It's nice to have a bit of a textural change in there as well. Onto the cornbread. I'm using a recipe from noracooks.com. I'll put the link in the description for you. I'm going to adjust a couple of the ingredients though, just because I want to try something a bit different. 150 grams of flour, just plain flour. Sieve that in. Nora's recipe uses cornmeal and I don't have any, so I'm going to kind of make my own. So I've got 185 grams of polenta. I'm going to put that in the coffee grinder. Just do it in batches probably, maybe 2-3 batches. You can see the texture goes much lighter. It's still a little bit gritty, Hopefully that won't be too bad. Just going to check the mushrooms. So you can see that they're releasing a ton of liquid and it's already shrunk considerably. At this point I'll start adding in some extra flavours just to boost the beefiness. So I'm doing 100% cacao. You can use dark chocolate or even cocoa powder. I'm going to do about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons. About a tablespoon of Henderson's Relish. This is a kind of tangy, dark flavoured sauce made from tamarind and some vinegar in there. It's a good substitute for Worcester sauce. A tablespoon of beef flavour stock. A teaspoon or so of Marmite, using that stuff. A tablespoon of Treacle. This really boosts the iron flavour. I haven't done this in mushrooms before, so I'm going to give it a try. This is beetroot powder, so it's just dried beetroot that's been ground. I'll do 2 teaspoons of that. And give that a really good stir and a mix. If you pushed for time, do feel free to pour out the liquid, and that's going to help it roast down faster. But you are throwing away flavour, so by doing it this way, you're going to concentrate all that mushroom umaminess back into the mushrooms. A teaspoon of MSG. Back in the oven, back onto the cornbread, adding a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of baking powder. This is going to give it the lift, the rise and puffy pillowness. This is where I'm going to start diverting from the recipe a little bit. Hers calls for 2/3 of a cup of sugar, and she does say it's quite a sweet one. She has quite a sweet tooth when it comes to cornbread. I don't have that sweet tooth, so I'm only going to use a tablespoon of granulated sugar. You could probably use any sugar you like. I do want to try doing one with the whole wheat flour next time I get some more, and I might try it with muscovado sugar in just to see what that does to it. I've been sent this stuff as well, so I'm going to try using that, and it's like a sugar replacement, and it's the only natural bioavailable source of B12, so it's ideal for vegans. And the flavour is like a mild muscovado, like a light muscovado sugar. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons in. This is going to give it a darker colour, but hopefully it'll still look beautiful. That's all the dry ingredients in, so I'm going to give it a really good mix together. Bushel well in the middle. I'm going to pour in 315 grams of soy milk. Her recipe uses almond. I don't have it, so I'm going to try with soy. And then 75 grams of vegan butter. She uses oil, and I just decided to try butter. This might go disastrously wrong. Any problems, they're mine, not Maura's. Really good mix together. I'm going to whisk it, just to get rid of any lumps. I've lined a 10-inch cake tin with foil and then oiled that just to help it stop sticking. Pour that in. And then I'm putting this in the oven 180 degrees C for about 20-25 minutes. Cornbread's had 20 minutes, have a quick check. It certainly looks cornbready. I think that's done. Put this on a cooling rack. Check the mushrooms. Still quite soggy, still quite wet. So I'm going to crank the temperature up to 220. Put this back in. I initially had them on the lower shelf, so I've moved them up as well as cranking the temperature up. So hopefully maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. Mushrooms have had about another 20 minutes. Here's how it's looking. So it's definitely much drier, but there's still quite a lot of wetness. And I want to get rid of as much of that as I can. So give it a good stir. That helps release some of the steam, which is moisture. Tuck that back in. We've got 2 white onions, 2 huge carrots, and then maybe half a bunch of celery, and a pepper and a half. I mean, what's that all about? Anyway, that's what you get for doing online shopping. So I'm just going to dice everything, quite large dice. Start this warming on a medium-high heat. So you'll find when you roast mushrooms, they go very dark. They're not burned, don't worry. So they're almost there. You could use them at this stage, but I'm going to put them back in, and then I'll put them in once I've got the rest of the veg done. Give everything a stir around in there, just to get everything covered in the oil. Break up any chunks of onion that you didn't cut through properly, like I did. I'm putting some of these in, avocado leaves. I just think it's going to add a nice little bit of extra flavour. It's a similar scent to bay, but then slightly brighter in aroma. And there's also some slight touch of vanilla maybe. It's slightly nutty as well. I've got like 5 or so. Don't put that amount of bay in. That's too much. Maybe 2 or 3 bay leaves. It's the first time I've used them in cooking, so I'm hoping that that's just going to soften down as it cooks out. And I can always, I don't know, fish them out, I suppose. I'm going to make a guacamole to go with it, because why not? You can take the seeds out. I quite like them. So make your own choice. And then just run your knife back and forth through it so you mince it down a bit. Into the bowl. Wash your hands. Keep an eye on your veg at the same time. Just keep moving it around, make sure there's nothing stuck on the bottom of the pan. Put a clove of garlic in. I'm putting a few tomatoes, because I like those little bursts of flavour. Nice couple of spring onions. Quite fine on these. Using a small bunch of coriander. I'm starting to get a lot of browning on the bottom of the pan. So to lift that off, I'm using tequila. It's got a kind of toasty, roasty sort of flavour. I'll drop in the peppers. Mix those in. I'm going to put the heat on lower now. I also want garlic and chilli in here. I'm going for different dimensions of chilli. So I've got the chipotle, fresh, and then I'm also going to pop in some cayenne pepper. There should be lots of different sensations of heat. Same again with the chilli, just chop the tops off and then slice them down into a more manageable piece. Drop those in. I'm using a lot of garlic in this because I've got loads. I ordered a kilo instead of a bulb. Probably got like 9 cloves of garlic there. Feel free to do however much you want. Give that a good mix through. Should have used a bigger bowl for the guacamole. So let me just transfer it. Pour in about a teaspoon maybe of olive oil. Good twist of salt. A bit of black pepper. And I'm going to put in some lime juice. A little trick for your limes, if you roll it, it kind of bursts the cells inside there, makes it easier to juice. Squeeze that in. Mash that together. Give that a try. I'm going to drain a can of kidney beans. I've drained them, but I haven't rinsed them because I actually quite want some of that thickening in the juice, whatever that is in the bottom. Here's the mushrooms. So you can see very crumbly in texture now. So you really don't get much. Stir in the seitan. Adding a bit of salt, pepper, 1/4 teaspoon or so of cayenne pepper. Well, maybe do half. Why not? Good dose, maybe 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of the MSG. I'm going to put a touch of ground mace in here. I don't know why, but the idea came to me when I went to the shops earlier. And that's what grows around a nutmeg. So it has a vaguely nutmeggy flavour, but then it's sharper and more aromatic. And then I'm going to put in about 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. Mix that through. The smells coming off that already are just stunning. I'm going to do, I think, 4 tablespoons of the chipotle paste and a can of chopped tomatoes. Give that a try. I'm going to put some sweetness in to help temper the heat a tiny bit, to balance it out. I made some boysenberry syrup. This is just boysenberries steeped in apple cider vinegar and then mixed with a load of sugar. If you haven't got this, use a bit of brown sugar will be good, or even just white sugar. You could probably use maybe some maple syrup. That might be quite interesting. So any kind of sweetener will work. So I'll do maybe a teaspoon to start with, and then taste and see how it is. decided I'm going to add all the mushrooms. Yeah, and when I do the bolognese, I'll just get another load and do it again. I'm currently reading Heston Blumenthal's Search of Total Perfection, and he looks at loads of classic, loved British dishes and travels the world looking for the best version of that. And in the chapter on bolognese, he goes to Italy and found that a lot of Italians use milk in their ragu because it gives richness and a bit of thick creaminess. I tried it in a tomato sauce with soy milk and it's gorgeous. Thickens, creamy and rich but without being sickly. And I think what's happening is the proteins in the soy milk are curdling with the acid in the tomatoes, so it does give a really nice thick gorgeous texture. So what I'm going to do is use the soy milk to rinse out the tomato can, give it a good swirling, and then tip that in. Good splurge of tomato puree. I should have done this earlier and totally forgot. So I'm using caraway seeds. You'll see me use this in the soda bread and also in a couple of other recipes. So yeah, I'll do a teaspoon of those. I should have fried this off with the veg really. And a teaspoon of cumin and a teaspoon of fennel seeds. Those flavours from the seeds will continue to develop as it heats through now, but also as I leave it for a couple of days. Give this another try. So good. If you want more liquid in there, feel free to put in more soy milk or even maybe some V8, the vegetable juice, or tomato juice, or water and a bit of some sort of stock, maybe the beef flavoured stock. That would work quite well in there. And have a quick clean down and I'll see you for the eating. Didn't that come out amazing? That's come out really well. Nice. To give a bit of cooling for the chili, I'm going to smear some vegan cream cheese on top of the cornbread. That's going to be amazing. Tuck into that. The flavours are really rich and warming, and there's lots of depth. Lots of complexity as well, lots of different pops of flavour. There's lots of really nice textures as well. So you've got some crunch from the carrots and celery, soft sweetness from the peppers. I'm gonna have a big bite of the cornbread. Wow. That's incredible. I can't believe how quick it was, apart from the grinding, to get a bit of bread. My God. I could just eat that. Those three elements together are just fantastic. Because you've got lots of dominant rich flavours in the chili, it's then really nice to go a little bit sweet and creamy and mild with the cornbread, and then go for freshness with the guacamole. Yeah, that's a choir on a plate right there. For more ideas of the marvellous things you can make with mushrooms, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon, and check out some of these.